Coming up on First at 4, when or will Governor Matt Bevin file to run for re-election? That was one of the topics today as he visited Eastern Kentucky.
Congress holds votes to reopen the government. I'm Nicole Killian on Capitol Hill with why it may not end the shutdown stalemate.
And snow chances continue through the next few days. A look at the forecast now on First at 4.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin made a stop in the mountains today. He held a community forum at the Leslie County Extension Office. There he talked about a variety of different issues folks had questions about, and he also talked with us about the upcoming election and his future plans. WYMT's Connor James is in the newsroom with more. Connor?
Steve, during the meeting, Governor Bevin addressed issues from economic development in the Bluegrass to breaking down the crisis with our pension system. Governor Bevin also toured the Teleworks USA hub in Hyden. He was recently in India as lead in an economic development trip. He also mentioned during the forum that he will indeed, quote, be one of the choices when referring to who you can vote for in the May primary, and told WYMT he definitely intends to file.
I am going to, and I will be a choice that people will have. And again, I encourage people, regardless of their party affiliation, look carefully at who has actually done things in their past, what they're promising you. Do they have the ability to pay for the promises? You're going to hear a lot of promises in an election year.
Now, Steve, there are still 5 days left to file. The deadline is on January 29th. I'll have much more at 6 about what went on in Hyden today and Governor Bevin's plans for running and if Lieutenant Governor Jeanine Hampton will be his running mate.
All right, Connor James in our newsroom, thank you. We're following a developing story right now. The FBI has arrested a bank robbery suspect known as the Traveling Bandit, and we are now told the suspect has ties to Eastern Kentucky. The FBI says this man, 49-year-old Jason Lee Robinson of Pikeville, was involved in multiple bank robberies across the country. They say he robbed a bank in Florida back in December. Robinson is facing federal bank robbery charges.
Well, after a light dusting of some snow across portions of eastern Kentucky, it's been a cold one here, and the temperatures haven't budged at all. Let's take a look first across the border into the University of Virginia. You'll notice the cloud cover working through, and a little bit of that light snow still on some of the roofs, and even into portions like in the higher elevations where you see it on the mountaintops. Of course, we have a flood warning for Estill County. This actually was extended. Some flood advisories as well, which would be for Laurel County, Whitley County, McCreary County, Clay, Lee, and Owsley. You can find those details for us on WYMT.com. But satellite radar showing one band of clouds working out of the eastern portion of the state. The next band working again from the northwest, and that is that Clipper system, which will not be widespread like last night, but will provide the chance of a few scattered snow showers tonight and lead to maybe a few minor slick spots. It's 35 in Louisville, 29 in Hazard, 31 there in the Tri-Cities, and as you look at current temperatures even closer to home, not really increasing much. 28 in Prestonsburg, 26 in Pikeville, and 27 in London. Steve will break down that slight snow chance for tonight. Nothing to get the hopes of snow lovers up, but certainly some cool views if some snow could fall. We'll break down everything you didn't know as well with the weekend forecast in a few short minutes.
All right, Andrew, thank you. There were a few slick spots this morning as rain briefly turned to snow. The changeover happened a little later than many expected. Some school officials made a late decision to cancel or delay classes. Here in Hazard, we got between a dusting to about an inch, mainly on the grassy areas. Most of the main roads were just wet. Now, we already have some school closings for tomorrow. Some of those are due to sickness. You can find the latest list on WYMT.com. President Trump's State of the Union address remains on hold as negotiations to end the partial government shutdown continue. Senate lawmakers held two key votes today to try and come up with a solution. CBS's Nicole Killian now has the very latest from Capitol Hill.
Mr. Graham. Mr. Grassley.
Senate lawmakers voted on a Republican plan to end the government shutdown, including $5.7 billion for President Trump's border wall.
Denying the president 0.1% for spending on needed border security is not worth hurting this many people.
The motion is not agreed to.
The measure failed, then the chamber blocked a continuing resolution favored by Democrats that did not include funding for the wall.
Our proposal allows us to open up the government and then after government's open, settle our differences over border security.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi now says she's willing to meet face-to-face with President Trump to try to break the impasse. The comments came just hours after Mr. Trump agreed to delay his State of the Union address at the Speaker's request.
It's the President of the United States. We meet with him anytime he wants to meet, and I've never discouraged anybody from meeting with the president.
Thursday, the president's Commerce Secretary faced criticism for questioning why furloughed workers need food banks on CNBC.
Well, I know they are, and I don't really quite understand why. The 30 days of pay that some people will be out, there's no real reason why they shouldn't be able to get a loan against it.
800,000 federal workers are set to miss a second paycheck Friday on day 35 of the partial government shutdown. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The president cannot give a speech to a joint session of Congress unless the House and Senate pass a resolution setting the date and time. President Trump's former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, has been subpoenaed by the Senate Intelligence Committee to testify in mid-February. That's according to a source close to Cohen. The source said Cohen still has concerns regarding the safety of his family. He announced yesterday that he is postponing his appearance before the House Oversight Committee hearing, citing ongoing threats against his family from the president and his attorney, Rudy Giuliani. Senate Intelligence traditionally interviews behind closed doors, not publicly. A committee spokeswoman declined to comment. A federal judge has ruled that Paul Manafort must be in court tomorrow for a major hearing. President Trump's former campaign manager had asked to be allowed to skip the proceedings. They will focus on his cooperation with the investigation. Prosecutors claim that he broke his plea agreement by lying to investigators. Judge Amy Berman Jackson said Manafort has skipped too many hearings in his criminal case. Earlier this month, special counsel Robert Mueller said Manafort had lied about several topics, including contacts with Russian military intelligence, accused of hacking Democrats in 2016. The Florida man accused of killing 5 people in a bank made his first court appearance this morning in Sebring, Florida. Zephan Zaver appeared before a Florida judge by video conference in a jail jumpsuit on first-degree murder charges. The judge appointed a public defender. The 21-year-old is accused of opening fire yesterday inside the Central Florida bank, killing 5 people. Local police in Sebring are calling it cold-blooded murder.
Our sisters, our mothers, our daughters, and our co-workers.
Police say Zaver called 911 himself to let authorities know about the shooting. When SWAT teams arrived, the gunman was barricaded inside. The standoff ended when an armored police vehicle rammed the building. State records show Zaver was training to be a prison guard but recently resigned. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. A Texas man who is accused of trying to run over a school security guard appears in court. Stephen De La Torre is charged with aggravated assault. De La Torre's ex-wife works at the Village School in Houston and has a restraining order against him. La Torre is barred from the school. The guard recognized De La Torre and moved to block him. That's when he allegedly tried to run over the guard. The guard fired several shots at the car in an attempt to stop him. De La Torre's car struck the guard, but he was not seriously injured. A Wisconsin teen who escaped her alleged kidnapper earlier this month will receive the reward money connected to her case. Jamie Kloss was missing for 3 months. Hormel Foods and Jenny O Turkey will donate their $25,000 contribution to the reward to Kloss. Kloss's parents worked for Jenny O. They were killed in October when the teen was kidnapped. The FBI offered another $25,000 in reward money, but the question of who gets that portion remains up in the air. A scary night for a Texas mother and her 13-year-old daughter. When the mom got out of the car at a gas station, a man stole it, with the daughter sleeping in the back seat, then crashed it. Marianne Martinez spoke to that teen and her mom.
I'm thinking somebody kidnapped my daughter, and I'm never going to see her again.
Her Toyota Camry missing with her 13-year-old Hannah inside.
Because I was just hysterical.
Nikki Howard's car disappeared from the Quick Trip at I-35W and Basswood. Fort Worth police say surveillance video shows a man getting into the car and driving away. 13-year-old Hannah says she woke up when the car hit something. Disoriented, she thought her mom was driving.
I was like, Mom, like, what are you doing? Because they slammed into something, and I thought it was my mom. I saw them just jump out of the car, and I'm thinking, why is my mom jumping out of the car? And so I jumped out too, and I went to see them, and I was like, Mom, what are you doing?
Hannah says she saw the man who stole the car jump into a white minivan that was following them.
And then I got in my mom's car, and I just tried to drive after them, and then I crashed into
the roundabout. There's a lesson in everything, and there's a blessing in everything. And I have to look at the positive, that she's here and she's alive.
Hannah's mom was driving for Uber Eats at the time this happened. She says the car is totaled, and it was how she made a living. No arrests have been made. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Thursday afternoon. The Dow closes down today more than 22 points. Venezuela is in crisis as President Nicolas Maduro fights to stay in power. President Donald Trump is backing an opposition leader, and Maduro has severed diplomatic ties with the U.S. The Venezuelan president ordered American diplomats to leave the country within 72 hours after President Trump announced his support for opposition leader Juan Guaido. Yesterday, Guaido went into hiding after declaring himself interim president, adding more drama to the current political dysfunction in the oil-rich nation. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo addressed the crisis this morning.
The United States proudly recognized National Assembly President Juan Guaido as the interim president of Venezuela. The time for debate is done. The regime of former President Nicolas Maduro is illegitimate.
President Trump said the U.S. is monitoring the situation but will not intervene for now. China and Russia are supporting Maduro, while other Latin American and European countries are backing Guaido's claim to the presidency. Straight ahead on First at 4, 2 separate road rage instances across the country highlight the dangers of these encounters.
And one system down this morning, but plenty more to go. We will break down the latest snow chances coming up.
The latest additions to Kentucky Lottery's team are looking to multiply the winnings.
No doubt. There's 5 times the cash, 10 times, as well as 20 times and 50 times the cash.
And 100 times the cash with a top prize of $1 million.
Put a little more play in your day with these new scratch-off games.
Don't have time to go to the library? Well, the library can come to you with Perry County Public Library's Bookmobile. With over 3,000 items to choose from, there's something for everyone. Books, audiobooks, DVDs, and more. The Bookmobile offers reading programs year-round and other programs for all ages, including adults and children's daycare centers, as well as story time for preschool. For weekly Bookmobile routes or more information, call Terry Depp at 436-2475 or visit us online.
Breathe easier with ARH Home Care Store oxygen and home medical equipment. Our stores are conveniently located throughout southeastern Kentucky, plus you get after-hours and weekend service through your local ARH hospital. Comprehensive and convenient. ARH, taking care of you at home.